Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Plenty with Sulo. Today we have a unique personality. He's a former cricketer and a leading business personality in Sri Lanka in the industry of IT and BPO. Also, he's the present governor of Rotary, Sri Lanka and Maldives. He's Dushan Soza. Hi Dushan. So most of the people know you as a cricketer, right? And Sri Lanka cricket is very famous these days. As a cricketer at that time and as you are looking at the cricket today, what do you see?
I think cricket at that time, there was a lot more fellowship amongst the players. So if you take me for example, while playing school cricket from the age of under 14, you have the same group of cricketers growing up and all ending up at the first 11 stage from all schools that you play with. And to date, we are friends with these cricketers from other schools, and sometimes you have, much more closer friends outside your school with other schools than your own school.
Yeah.
So I think that factor of relationships and collaboration with other schools, the relationships, I think that's slightly lacking these days because of maybe the lifestyles are such that people have no time, so to breed those relationships.
So being a cricketer actually build you up for who you are today?
Definitely. Most certain. So I consider myself first a cricketer and then everything else because, cricket has been my life. Although I didn't play at national level, I did play cricket to a fairly senior standards. I played for my school. Then I captained the Sri Lanka under-19 team. I played first class cricket for a local club here, Tamil Union, earlier the NCC and then Tamil Union. I captained the University of Reading, my university in the UK, the first non-Englishman to captain in its history. So that was a bit of a milestone in the university's cricketing history. And then I played combined British University. So I played a lot of cricket. So I must say that cricket basically made me who I am. The way I think, the way I react to situations. It's a great leveler, it builds humility in you because one day you score 100, tomorrow you start with 0 again.
Yeah.
So you don't live on that 100 the previous day and vice versa. You can get off or not, but you can be still positive and build your innings. So even in your normal life, it makes you very optimistic, think positively. Because anything can happen tomorrow and tomorrow is another day. That's what cricket teaches you, that tomorrow is always another day.
Another day.
Yeah.
And cricket is the reason you met your wife, I may say.
Not really, no.
When you were in UK?
I was in the UK, but that's probably a little later after my cricketing life, yeah.
So you are a proud father of 3 daughters.
3 daughters, yes.
So how do you find 3 daughters now? Everywhere it's talking about women, gender.
Yeah.
So at home, is it a gender balance or gender leadership or what you have it?
I think at home is a clear dominance by the female sector. Because in my house, I've got my wife, my mother lives with us 6 months of the year, and the next 6 months she's in the UK with my other brother. Then the 3 daughters, we have a domestic. We bought a dog, that's also female. So the whole household is all full of females. And there is always this point that my wife says, you talk so much when you go outside and when you're at home, you hardly say a word. Then I say, that's because you don't allow me to say a word, and at different generations, there are different thought processes on every subject you talk about. So it's not easy. And one day I was actually interviewed during another program and they asked me, what is it like managing the family with 3 daughters and, all women. I said that it's easier to manage a company with 1,000 employees than manage your own family with, with 3 daughters and the wife and so on, because obviously emotionality and, all these things come into play. Unlike in a company where you're very, cut and dry, it's run on the rules and regulations, you have your own company policies and, there's a process, So you can't apply those processes at home, They'll kick you out of the house.
So it's easy to work in a company than I would say taking a leadership in a company is much easier than taking
far easy, because as they say, you're never the boss at home. Although you try to be the boss, and the wife will tell you that he's the boss, although he never says it. Really, you do everything that the wife wants you to do.
Yeah, that's normal.
Yeah. So for example, our washing machine was broken about a week back. And these days, when the washing machine breaks down, you have to always buy a new machine. because the suppliers don't have the spare parts for these
Yeah.
things. And so I've been running around for the last 1 week trying to get a washing machine sorted out, you know. So her needs come in as a priority. Most
Because
of the
she will not like to repeat it.
Yeah, and also my clothes don't get washed also, you know, so that's also a problem. So.
That's normal. So now you are a business leader, I would say. And I know that you have worked for government, non-government and also private sector. As a business personality in Sri Lanka, how do you see the current economic status?
So I think it's a very touchy subject because you have various figures and facts being thrown about. But from my reading, I see that Sri Lanka's growth rate has declined, and there's only one other country in this part of the region that Sri Lanka has a higher growth rate.
Afghanistan.
That's Afghanistan. Every other country is at a higher rate, including India, which is a big number, and still you're growing at a much higher rate than that. So that's on the one side. On the other side, we are talking about GDP. It was at $4,000. Now with the dollar exchange rates fluctuating, that's obviously come down to a lower figure, and perhaps even lower now given the certain challenges in the business climate. So if you look at all the key indexes, I think there are challenges that are being faced all around by the individuals, the companies and the government itself. You know, so.
Yeah. So I'm again coming back because you have 3 daughters, you are into IT and BPO business, but you have less women coming into that. So how do you see the challenges of your 3 daughters?
Yeah, that is actually not true because the BPO industry, the
More
women are
women,
reveling
yes,
in the
more
BPO
women.
industry, and the company that I was engaged in, that's a company called WNS, we had a 50-50 gender balance, and we had about 800 employees. Average age was about 25, so it's really the young generation. And having 400 women under one roof, was a great experience, you know, running a company with that kind of balance. So lots of women are in the industry, especially the BPO industry.
Okay. Now you took over the Rotary governor in Sri Lanka and Maldives while having a background of cricket, business and all that. What made you to become a Rotary member, if I first ask?
So initially, it was long years back. I've been a Rotarian since 1985, so that's about 34 years now. I mean, that's a lifetime to be in Rotary. At that time, we just joined Rotary for fun. I mean, one of my friends, one of my closest friends, Segera, he was invited to join Rotary. He said, why don't you come with me? I can't go alone. So both of us went like, you know, young pups into the Rotary Club, and then we saw so many friends in the club. And we just stayed on. So the reason for joining Rotary was just plain fun. I mean, there was no real reason at that point of time. You know, it's long years ago. But now Rotary has changed a lot. You know, it's a lot more focused, and what Rotary is called a vision statement. It's run like a corporate. It's got its own values. You know, it's a huge organization. 1.2 million members worldwide, 220 countries, 70 odd languages. Sri Lanka itself is expanding now with over 2,000 members. So it's a different place. Rotary is a different place today from 35 years ago.
So taking a leadership on that role as a Sri Lanka and Maldives governor, what changes you are going to bring?
Yeah, so the first thing was to really, you know, do some sort of a transformation in the way Rotary has worked. With all due respect to all the past leaders, you know, there came a time right now when Rotary International is moving at pace with automation and lots of other advanced techniques to transform the way Rotary is working, to attract new members, young members. We got to, you know, give a new face. Rotary has to be handled like a product, and at Rotary International level there are product leaders handling. So it's the whole, you know, the environment has changed. So the first thing I had to do was to basically, you know, transform the way Rotary in Sri Lanka works, because otherwise we would be left behind and playing catch up would be very difficult over the years. So we kind of brought in a level of automation to the whole governance. We automated the whole reporting system. We automated the performance framework. Even like in a corporate, we get the KPIs and all that gets reported in, and at the back end everything is managed and we got all the information. So at a touch of a button I can tell you how many man hours we spend on Rotary work, what is the total value of projects we have done. There are 6 focus areas that Rotary is involved in. I can tell you on each of those focus areas, what we are doing, what's the value, who are the beneficiaries, gender classifications of those beneficiaries, age groups of the beneficiaries. So whole lot of, like in a company you call it business intelligence, BI. We get that management information out, which is going to be very useful going forward. You can tweak it this way, that way. So for example, one startling fact that came out was that during a Rotarian's productive hours during a day or during the year, we spend 10% of our time on Rotary.
Oh, okay, 10%.
Exact 10%. So those are the man hours that are coming out. Right?
Okay.
So that means attending meetings, fellowship, projects, the whole lot. So if you tweak that 10% into say 12%, push that, like in a cooperative, you push that engagement a little bit higher. It's a paradigm shift in what you do in Rotary. So having this kind of scientific information helps Rotary to chart its way through the future. So I think those are some big findings we have come up with that will help Rotary in its forward journey.
That's great. Now I know Rotary actually did the polio project in Sri Lanka very successfully. In your this thing, what will be the next project for Sri Lanka?
Yeah, so I think we are pinning our hopes on eradicating dengue in Sri Lanka.
Okay.
It's a strong term to use, eradicate. So it's a very complex task. People are cleaning gardens and doing various things, but it's really not helping us, as you know.
Yes.
So we've been, first of all, we studied about this whole dengue menace, the mosquito and so on and so forth, talked to all the experts in the country, the dengue epidemiology unit, the Ministry of Health, the public health inspectors, Colombo Municipal Council, so on and so forth. And having tried different techniques, we ended up with having a trap, a mosquito trap.
Okay.
Which will be manufactured by PHI, a physical inspector from the Kununagala region.
Okay.
And this mosquito trap has a cocoa peat inside the trap, mixed with water, and after a while it gets stale, and it emanates a smell which will attract the mosquitoes to come and lay the egg inside the trap, because there's food inside the trap for the mosquito. So when the mosquitoes lay egg, the Aegis mosquito, when they lay eggs, they lay in multiple places. They never put all the eggs in the same basket.
Okay.
Right? So they lay about 400 eggs in different places. So this is one trap, one place we would like them to come and amongst the other breeding spots into this trap. So if you minimize the other possible breeding grounds, places, the mosquitoes will come and lay the egg in this trap. And this is what we have done in an area in Grand Pass.
So it's already launched?
Already launched.
Okay.
We have signed a MOU with the Colombo Municipal Council.
Right, okay.
With the help of the PHIs and the Environment Police. We have launched, we have installed over 1,000 traps in an entire area in Grand Pass. And as we speak...
Why you all started in Grand Pass? Because
that was
highest
the place...
was that Vattala Ragama and all that?
No, from a Colombo Municipal standpoint, that was an area where they actually recommended that we go in there and do
because
this
I got dengue, my son got dengue,
Everybody's
my daughter got dengue. So that's why I asked.
All our children have got dengue.
Yes.
So I think everyone has dengue, either in the
now
family
dengue is
or
like
friends
just
or
fever.
Relations or whatever. So it's a serious menace to try and tackle. So what we are doing there is that we capture we let the mosquito lay the egg, and the mosquito flies off. And this egg touches the water that is in the canister, and it turns into larvae. And the first movement of the larvae is to come up to get oxygen, and there's a kerosene layer that's been put on the top.
Okay.
So as it comes and touches the kerosene, it burns out. So basically, the whole concept is to tackle the mosquito at source, at birth itself, and reduce that birth rate completely. Given the fact that the male mosquito's lifespan, we are informed, is about 15 days, and the female is about 25 days to 30 days. Over a period of 6 months, there will be natural attrition of the grown-up mosquitoes. Okay. And on the other side, if you can reduce the number of the new births, then I think you are hitting it from both sides. So right now we are hearing very positive results from the area. The area was supposed to be a very dengue-infested area. That's why they gave us this particular location. And at the district conference on the 5th and 6th of April, next month, we intend formally releasing the data. That is, how many eggs have been caught in these traps. So, because eggs get burnt out in those traps, 1:20 ratio, we have set up a trap without the kerosene layer. So we actually breathe in the mosquitoes. In other, we don't know how many mosquitoes get caught, right? Because it just burns out, or it kind of disappears. So we are breeding the mosquitoes in those traps. 1:20. We'll extrapolate that over the 1,000 and come up with some statistics. So right now,
it's going to be a fantastic project.
It's a hell of a project. I can tell you that if it works, we will.
So still the test drives are going on?
Yeah, because we had to go through 2 seasons. So we installed this in November, and now the monsoons are coming in May.
Yeah.
So it's only after the monsoonal season that we can really come out with the full result. But because the district conference is coming in the middle, in the middle of April, lots of Rotarians have funded this project. So it's our responsibility to kind of tell them where we are. So we are releasing some interim results of the data, which will be backed up by the public health inspectors as well as the municipal council and all the health authorities. So our idea is that if it works, then we will get a certification that this is a trap that will work to reduce the number of dengue incidents, or any mosquito for that matter. So it's not only dengue, it can be malaria, it can be any mosquito. So if it works, it will be another project as big as polio plus.
Yeah, definitely. And is it the first in Sri Lanka?
It is the first in Sri Lanka at that level, going in with a trap to really,
This has never started in India or Bangladesh?
They have done this. I mean, first of all, I first came across this, it was known as the OV trap, when the Americans used this little cup, black color cup, in Vietnam during the war, during the time that they were engaged in the war. And then those are classified products, and therefore the information not released. But after 10 or 15 years, once the classification period is over, this information comes on the internet. So that's where we first picked up. There's a thing called OV trap, but it's a very remote. It's a very light. It's not something we can go and install in a normal household. I mean, I installed it in my house, the dog kicked it out the first night itself. So all the dengue, everything was on the ground, the liquid, etc. So we needed a heavy unit to withstand the sun, some hard plastic around it. The water evaporates, so you need to have a replenisher like a car radiator, the extra cup. So we have a bottle out there to replenish the water that is getting evaporated. So it's a huge contraption.
Yeah.
And it's around 1,000 rupees. So, so it's very affordable.
Yeah, it is affordable. So speaking about all these, I just want to ask from you, is Rotary about social service or business for members? So
really, Rotary is really for networking, right? Because I think networking is very important in today's context. There has been some statistics about longevity in life. And there are top 10 factors. Number 10 is like the food you eat, number 9 is exercise, and so on. Number 1 is social networking. It's the release of stress and everything else. So I think Rotary provides a great platform to do that. And once you are engaged with professionals, with the resources you have at the back of you, you obviously do social service. But if you look at the statistics that have come out of our management system, 56% of what we have done is all service-based. That's the numbers that are coming out today in the management, as I told you, the MIB have.
Yeah. So, Dushan, finally I want to ask from you, as a sportsman, as a businessman, and also into Rotary and social service, what do you think about Sri Lankan future for our youth?
I think, it's a great future for our youth, because the Sri Lankans are very talented. And these are factors that are coming out. Somebody said that we are in the middle of the center of the earth, and therefore the gravity level in Sri Lanka and this area is at the lowest level. Right? So when the gravity is low, you generally come up with more intelligent people. This is why people like Arthur C. Clarke came and lived here, and all these stories are there. So whatever the scientific explanations come out, generally the Sri Lankans are very talented, and you pick a guy on the street, he can do so many things. It's just the training and all that is required. So provided we have the right training and the soft skills and everything else thrown in, we have a great future. I think the only challenge we have is the number of hours we work, with the holidays and everything else. If you compare the number of hours per year per employee, we are way below the other countries.
I think Dhammika Pera said.
He said that.
He said we have to calculate the productivity not for the number of hours per day.
Absolutely, that's
number of man hours per hour.
Yeah.
Said because then only we can see the productivity. With the holidays, it's very difficult for Sri Lanka to survive. I think that is one of the major reasons Sri Lanka has many holidays, and private sector keep on complaining, but nothing has been happening.
So the BPO industry measures all this.
Okay.
So we have the number of hours we are contracted for and the number of productive hours that is coming out of it. So it's about 6 hours, 5.5, 6 hours out of an 8.5 hour day is the productive hours. And in the BPO industry, you're eternally locked in, so you have to be productive. There's no time to walk around and have a cup of coffee or something like that. The industry is slightly different. So it's a hardcore productive driven, and we give productivity figures to our clients. So it's very, very correct. It's the productive hours that matter.
Okay, thank you, Dushan, for coming on Plenty with Sulo. Before you go, there's a cup next to you, and there's a pen. If you can put a signature on that with a message, that would be great. Right. Thank you. Dushan, there's a small gift from Plenty with Sulo, and I hope you will enjoy the tea, and you can have the tea now at Plenty with Sulo. Thank you very much, Dushan, for coming for our show with Plenty with Sulo. And the special this thing is that, a business person from Sri Lanka, and also I would say a sportsman, and also father of 3 daughters, and happily married, because this word was asked me to use it for you. Happily married husband with Plenty with Sulo. Hello everyone. Today we had Dushan Soza, who's a cricketer, who said sportsmanship is the reason for him to be successful. And also he said Sri Lanka has talented youth. With that, we are coming to an end of another episode with Plenty with Sulo. I hope you will all subscribe to our YouTube channel, Plenty with Sulo. Live safe. Thank you.